gentlemen, welcome to episode 70 of the Juggernaut Bolt Action podcast. It's 70, isn't it? Yeah, we
70?
Yeah, because that's 1 plus 69. 69 was the last episode, which was 3 months ago. I'm really sorry, but I had life. And then there was Christmas and illness and stuff and whatever, fuck it. We are joined here by our very, 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 dare I say famous guest? I mean, John Ross, you're basically the Hank Green of Bolt Action.
Yeah, I don't think that's true, but I'm glad to be on the show anyway. Ed Sheeran, maybe.
Ed Sheeran. Yeah. Pick your favourite celebrity. John will be that celebrity of Bolt Action for you.
Prince Harry.
Prince Harry. No, because he's not. No, that's not good. It's too early. I've not had enough of these yet. How we all been, guys? Did we all have a good Christmas?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I ate so much food.
Yeah. Did Bolt Action Santa bring you anything nice?
No. Bolt Action Santa didn't.
I got a what?
Wargaming Santa.
Wargaming Santa brought me something very nice.
It's got like a
okay,
Pip-Boy.
You got a watch. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at what I got. Look at that, listeners. Let's try and get it to the camp. Look at that. Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah.
Do you know
that's
what that is?
Penis into, right?
Right. Look, if I just get my little,
you put one bollock on it and it just vibrates.
It's a vortex mixer for paint.
Yeah, he puts his dick on it.
I don't. The thing is, I kind of have to adjust how hard I press it. If I push it too hard, it just stops working. It's a nice fine line. I have to massage my vortex mixer. That's what.
I bet you pushed that too hard.
Oh dear.
You're poor.
Oh dear.
Well, the thing is, wargamers out there, like, generally, if you want it, you go and buy it, your models and stuff. So when your friends and loved ones go, well, what? Especially if you've got a 3D printer, because I just print it myself. So if you want something, what you got to do? Well, there we go. Get a little noodle.
Especially Bolt Action, isn't it? If you want a tank, it's 25 quid at the most. So it's not like GWE, you got to spend 90 to get a Rhino nowadays.
Yeah, fair enough. So, quick intro before we go on, because we got loads to talk about, because obviously it's been 3 months since V3, so we're going to talk about all of our first games experiences with V3. Any announcements before we go on?
The events calendar's all fresh for this year. It's up on our Discord. Spurlie's put it up on Facebook for us, which is lovely. And January, February, and March are already looking pretty stacked.
Yeah. Let's not try and go through all of them because there's freaking loads of them.
No, I will say that. Sorry,
I'm so envious. I am
so envious.
Apart from,
I am so envious of your list. You've got more happening in the first 3 months than will happen in the US all year long. You Europeans have it great.
I mean, let's look at January. USA, Australia, London, Australia, France, Andover. Two events in the UK there.
Because I've barely seen anything about the LVO.
Oh shit! I was going to say the LVO is soon, isn't it?
Yeah. 16th and 19th of Jan.
It's not often that I will compliment the French, but on the 25th of Jan, they've got a tournament in Petit Mars, and they've called it Mars Attacks. Which, come on, it writes itself. So there we go. All I will say is 8th of March, not 6 steps back.
6.
Yeah, not 6 steps back. So that's how long we've been doing this, because you've got to take the years out for COVID as well. So we've been at this for too long.
COVID should have had 2.
I think might even be 2.
2, because we dropped into it March 2020, which would have been.
Yeah. There we go. So, any final announcements or anything before we move on?
I'll save sponsors for mincemeat until after we've done the mincemeat bit stuff.
Okay.
That we wanted to talk about.
In which case, roll on with the transition. So, let's start with you, John. V3. Talk to me. What's your thoughts? Because I've not heard much from your side of the pond in terms of uptake and stuff.
We had plenty from the other side of the pond before it was actually released, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I don't know that there were a lot of people in the U.S. that were involved in playtesting at all. I only know of one official playtester, so I don't know that the community was kind of getting riled up and as excited about it as you guys were. There have been a few tournaments; they've all been small. They've been 3-game, one day kind of local tournaments. So we haven't seen a big, GT yet. I think my event coming up in February will be the first one where you could play 8 full games of bolt action V3 in a tournament setting. So I think it'll be the first one. But for me, I tell you, I'm really liking it. I went to WoW. I played on the American team there.
That sounds World Open War. That's the one.
World Open War.
Yep.
Yeah. 3-person team tournament, and we won our bracket, or we came in the second bracket, and we did well. And that was a lot of fun. It was fun seeing so many people that I've seen at either WTC or you see the other tournaments who are there, who are all kind of coming at it fresh and kind of reinvigorated about the game. And if there's one thing I was really bad about V2 is that it had gotten so stale. So
that feels good. Every British list was Gurkhas and Stuarts, and every Russian list was a million dudes and Stuarts.
Same list. The WTC list reviews were so boring because every team was the same.
Why do you think when we did the reviews all that time ago, we just skipped everything that had double Stuarts? It's like, oh, look, double Stuarts, move on.
Well, that's why the Americans submitted such bad lists, is so you guys would have some content.
Thank you.
Still did better than Toph, though, did it?
Wow. I got to be number 2. I'm still happy.
You'll be the second, don't you?
There's a couple other things about the new game. I don't know if you guys have seen this. One is a lot of players that either left or hadn't tried it but were interested are like coming out of the woodworks. And so I've got so many new players showing up to events who are interested in joining the game because there's news about it. And I think that's really encouraging, including some younger guys, which is great. And then the other thing about it is because the play balance is so wacky with the new force org charts, and because no one really knows what a good list is yet, or what a bad list is. A lot of people
ideas.
But you got ideas, but I mean, who would have predicted, the guy who brought the 5 Hungarian heavy autocannon tanks and multi-launchers to an event? No one would have seen that coming, right? And
just gonna
sorry, yeah. But because it's so open, right? People are like digging down in their toy chest and they're pulling out toys that they built and never played before. And so, even in the few events that I've been to, I've seen people playing stuff that they were just all really excited to get on the table, and that's got to be good.
Yeah, does the opposite. He doesn't dig out toys that he's not played with before. He thinks of toys that he's never thought to play with before, and then prints them and paints them within an evening.
Yeah, but no, I get what you mean. I've been doing the thing where I try all the toys I've got and what still works, and I'm epically sad.
Do you think? Because I know the whole with any edition change, you have the people who you have some people who go, "Ooh, new edition," and will jump. Either like brand new people or people who from previous editions who will jump back on board. You'll always have the churn of the people who are actually, I don't like this anymore. I'm going to go and play something else. Sounds quite positive over in America. What would you say about us at home? It's still a bit lukewarm. Do you reckon?
It's well, at least at club it's a little lukewarm at the moment, but that's because we're still trying things, we're still finding the boundaries. But from what I gather, from all the intelligence gathering, it's fairly successful across the UK. I mean, you've got new players coming back in. You can see it all over the Bolt Action Facebook page. Sure, you've got players that are going, yeah, not right now, but it might be a kind of editions changed. I don't know what's going on. I'll wait for other people to find what's going on and then go that way.
Yeah. Have you managed to get money gain? How many games you managed to get in yourself then, John?
Probably 30.
30? That's not bad, Jack. You probably paid more than me then.
Easily more than me.
Yeah. And a lot of those games have been
everybody
down at the game store, with people raising their hand and saying, "Hey, I'd like to give it a try," and doing some sample games and that kind of thing. So not necessarily competitive games. I tell you, the other thing that's interesting about it, I don't know if you've seen the same thing, is that because you can actually do stuff in turns 1 and 2, things can actually happen as opposed to just rolling on 7s for the first couple of turns. Players that might have gotten bored with the game maybe before and frustrated are much more engaged by the time Bolt Action gets exciting turns 4 and 5, and so that seems to be driving some of these newer players to buy armies and all that. So actually pretty encouraged.
And that's interesting because from our perspective, that whole thing's happening turns 1 and 2 has been quite a negative, to be fair, because whereas games can be over very quickly, because if you roll on and you go 4s or 5s of everything, and then your opponent just goes, "Oh, my cover saves failed. Everything died." So where in the past, in previous editions, you'd move up, you'd set up, you'd get into the right position, and turns 3 or 4 was when things would start to happen. At least from my experience in V3, turn 1, turn 2, shit's just going to go down. You should roll your tank on, bang, something died. Interesting. It's different. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think
it's
it helped
nothing
me
fun about rolling
it
7s.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
the 7s kind of said all the 7s said to you was get closer, get closer, get closer, get a better angle, get closer. Whereas 4s and 5s is just roll the dice and see what happens.
Yeah. One thing we have found though, again, I would be interested to hear your thoughts, John. And we had a long conversation about this on our own Discord chat about this. In that, unless you can get within 6 inches of someone, there's no point moving, because cover's going to be not the impact of cover. It's a lot more difficult to maneuver out your way to make it better, because you're looking for the pins anyway, and range you don't get analysis to long range. So either you're hitting on 5s because you've moved, 4s because you didn't move, or 3s if you got within 6 inches. But if you didn't manage to get within 6 inches, it's 5s. So just stand still. So a lot of the games end up just being everyone rolls on the board turn 1, and then just sits there in their deployment zones, flinging shit at each other all game. A lot of people have said that's because we don't run enough terrain. I'll challenge
we ran
that,
any more terrain. It's just rolling dice, the simulator.
Yeah.
Well, it's the whole thing, isn't it? You put more terrain on, and you end up where everybody's got to move because everybody's got too good a cover save. So if you put too much on, you end up with exactly the same situation as V2, where turns 1 and 2, nothing really happens.
Yeah.
Because everybody's moving about. So it's horses for courses.
The statistics on the nuke chart and the cover saves are really weird. And early on, I did a really boring statistical analysis that nobody read, but it's this odd chart in which the new version's way better on killing stuff at long range, and it's way better at point blank, but it's not as you maneuver around, and so it's this odd thing too that I don't think you learn to play a war game intuitively, like you kind of know what's going to happen. And the first few games of this, things don't behave the way you expected.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think what I stated last pod episode was there's no mid board game anymore. There's no mid firing range game. It's either long range or short range. There's no point being sat in the mid when you can just get closer or run away. And that's just a weird oddity to those that are playing V2, where the mid game was where you won it.
Especially when pins are also all or nothing, right? Because you can put someone on 5 pins, but if they manage to pass their test, which is a lot easier these days with company commanders running around, they're still just going to hit you at -1. It doesn't matter. It's still going to activate. It's still going to shoot you at mostly effectiveness. So it's harder to shut units down. So again, you don't want to get caught out in the open with your pants down, because another you're just going to roll around and go, well, you're dead now. Yeah, I still can't get my head around it. Because I don't know if you see this, John, when you're playing games, you always read the matrix and you see the numbers, and as you do the calculations as you look from one side of the battlefield to the other, it's option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, and it's all freaking broken and shit for me. Still, it's all mess.
I sat there with wires going, hang on, this used to go in here and here, and now it's going to go here and where?
Yeah. So
yeah. It's so odd. Like things that on paper look like they should be great end up being really vulnerable. Like any squad of 3 men or less, I mean, they just melt under fire. And so everyone's so excited about MMG teams, and it's like, I'm not, because I think they're just going to disappear, and they don't do that much anyway, right? And then stuff that you thought was going to be nerfed or taken away, like the light tanks with festooned with machine guns. They're great. They're just as
they're
good as they
amazing.
were before because they're hitting better. And so there's all of that. And then the wackiest thing is the Force org chart. I mean, we have not yet seen the full extent of all the wild variations that you can do with that thing. So many people looked at it early on and were like, oh, the scout platoon, that's stupid. And I'm looking at it going, wait a second, I can put my engineers in a truck and make it recce? That's brilliant. That's really great.
No,
and I think
no. I'm going to be that guy, John. I'm going to be that guy. You can't, because they can't have the engineer rule.
No, but there's nothing to say to stop you buying the transport in the recon platoon.
Yeah.
But putting something from another platoon.
As someone bringing his kangaroos to Beachhead, I definitely haven't worked that one out. Yeah, there's some weird shit going on. But so like,
well, you know what else is really weird? 7+ tanks are even better than they were before.
Oh god!
Because the tank shocking, they can all tank shock now. It's mad. It used to have to be 8+, and it would be like, oh, few and far between. And now every 7+ is like, screw you, tank.
Talking of tank shock, it'll be good to get John's opinion on this one. Now, is a tank shock, technically, is it an assault move, or is it just a run that happens to have people in the way? Because you can't assault with an infantry unit from off the board onto the board. But if I run my tank onto the board, and it just happens that run move goes straight through my opponent's infantry squad, is that a tank? Is it an assault or is it not?
Are we confirming that Spurlie can't read? I mean,
that feels very, very gamey to me. Jesus.
Welcome to the Juggling Abort Action podcast, John. This is the shit here. This is what we do.
There's nowhere in the book that says that it's the wording's not there to make you go, I definitely can't do it. But if I did do it, I'd probably get a TO walk over and say, no, you can't do that.
I don't know what the ruling on that one is. I haven't heard that one yet, but that's very extra points for cleverness.
We have had lots of fun running shit over with 7+ tanks. Lots and lots of fun. Because the one thing that is reliable is putting 4 pins on something and running it over with Vickers. Like that is very, very. Like, why spend 400 points on a Tiger when a 70-point Vickers tank can do everything you need that Tiger to do?
Yeah, does the job just as well.
Absolutely,
I've been having a lot of fun with 10 Italian tankettes. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, lots of tank spam is a thing. So my first few games, I was in a real pickle because I was really struggling to enjoy my games because of all the changes and as we've discussed, like the change of how movement is not as good as it once was with that that mid-range deficit where dice just stopped working and stuff. And then again with the WCC, we've been coming up with list ideas and stuff and just saying, I could just bring 20 FT17s. Why the fuck not? So. And I was really I was really down and negative and kind of like fuck, because I was thinking I'm not enjoying their games. I've got all my friends play Bot Action now, and I've got Bot Action podcasts. It'd be very fucking awkward if I don't actually like playing this game. So what's going on? So went into Mincemeat, and I was losing all my practice games. Well, not losing all my practice games. I wasn't having fun with my practice games, working up to it.
Admittedly, one of those was me, and I intentionally went, oh, by the way, here's a massive change, because it's easier learning with a friend than it is learning it at a tournament.
One of them with me, and, I'm not great.
Wow. So. Again, and this is the thing, it's never been about winning or losing. It's about earning the result of the game, in that you want to have a plan, you want to play your game, you want to put your plans down, you want to have your plan make some sort of impact, and then you want to win based on your skill. That's what we all want, right? And I don't know about your opinion on this, John, but for me at least, in V3, shit, I would have a plan, it wouldn't matter because shit would happen and then it would just kind of all explode anyway. But okay, then what's the point? Do you know? I don't know if that suits you. It seems like, I know, Dan, we've spoken about this a lot, like the whole actual tactical decision making is somewhat lessened these days. It feels like that because, again, why bother moving? Just stand there and hit on fours. Yeah.
Well, I'm a massive Blood Bowl fan, and Blood Bowl is the epitome of wargaming, where you can plan out everything perfectly and you can do everything to mitigate all the risk and everything to get yourself into a winning position, and you can just roll a 1 and it fucks it up, but at least you've put yourself in that position to do that. Now, bolt action for me just doesn't do any of that. There is literally zero tactical input to the game anymore. You line up in a big line and you shoot. That is it. Then it comes down to who rolls the best cover saves or who rolls the most order checks to pass their pins, because pins don't matter on shooting now. So it's just a completely different game to V2, and I'm not going to say it's worse in every way, but it's worse in every way.
I just don't hold your feelings back.
I don't know. My experiences have been the opposite. Maneuver's been important, and maybe it has to do with the terrain density. I know that the tables that we've been playing on here are very thick with terrain, but there's been maneuver. There's been trying to figure out how can you still make a assault army work. Just a new challenge, how you can make that happen. And then the scenarios themselves, you lining up and just shooting won't work on a lot of those deployment types.
But you said yourself that you haven't played that many competitive games.
True.
And when it comes down to the most competitive games, that is what it comes down to. Because when we were doing the Operation Mincemeat, when we were watching all the best players play at that event, they all had very similar armies, which was lots of stuff that sat in a line, in cover, and it was either the best cover won or the person that could roll the most sixes won, because they had multi-launchers. And you just don't want a game like that. You want to be able to outmaneuver your opponent to actually win the game.
So, at least from Mincemeat, I think, from my experience, like most players kind of just brought very similar looking V2 style lists, because it's just what they've got, right? And a couple of players like myself, and I suppose Alex and a couple of us, had actually dived a bit deeper into the V3 army building style of things, and actually being able to, I can bring 4 of this great thing. Let's do that. So, because I know obviously Pete, Spurlie, and Dan, you TO'd Mincemeat. How did TOing Mincemeat differ as a V3 game to a V2 game?
Oh, disaster, mate! Absolute disaster.
Yeah, railroad crash.
Yeah,
the overall TO was exactly the same, wasn't it? Because the players haven't changed. So
there was, for the most part, I thought there was actually less questions about rules than. No, most of the things I got involved with was line of sight.
Yeah, there was
objectives is a big one.
Objectives.
Yeah, there was repeated questions about the objectives where I had to make, after a couple of players got caught out of it, the next game popped up and I went, read the objective rules. Kind of, they got caught out one game, I'm now going to give them the read the damn rules,
Have those objective changes reared up in a big way your side of the pond? Yeah, getting people's head around it.
Surprise.
Yeah, so in the last game I played at Mincemeat, we was playing, what's it called now? Hold Until Relieved. Is it still called that?
Yeah.
Oh,
one in the middle.
Yeah.
So
Hold Until Relieved.
One objective in the middle. The specific way it's worded is you need to have the end of your activation, your unit within 3 inches, and no one else within 3 inches. But it has to be at the end of your activation, which means if you end your activation of your objective and then no one else is there, and someone else is there, you don't claim it because it still belongs to the other guy. If that other guy then dies, it's still not yours because you didn't end an activation on it. It's still, even though you're on it and there's no enemies, it's still not yours until you activate again on it. People don't... It's the sort of thing, people read it, yeah. Then people actually really go, oh, fuck.
And they don't read and they don't read as well, there's no contesting objectives anymore. Once an objective is someone's, that's it, it's theirs. And people can't get their head around that. And they also don't read the rules properly as to what can deny you claiming an objective. So there's a lot of them where you can't have any unit, and there's some of them where you can't have an infantry or artillery, which means if you park your tank on it, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be claimed by the infantry unit. And there's different ones for different missions. So again, people not reading the book properly.
One way I figured out how to abuse the objectives was you capture it, and then you park a transport vehicle next to it. They'll kill the infantry unit on it, but then they can't claim it because the transport vehicle's there. At the end of the turn, the transport runs away because the enemy unit is closer. But hang on, it's still not theirs. I can then just move another empty transport straight onto it. It is still mine, and they now can't charge that vehicle because I've done a run order. It is still there, and you can just go feed a unit, feed a unit, feed a unit, and just even they could have an entire army on that objective. Just by manipulating the order at which you activate and stand on the objective, you can deny people getting it. It's
inexperienced trucks.
Maybe I'm just an arsehole, but it feels very abusable.
Yeah, I for Warzone, which is my GT coming up, I am not using the new objective rules, and I'm going back to the control and contest from V2 for all the reasons you described. I mean, listen, there's some really great things about the new book, like the index. Yeah. Awesome.
Oh, I love an index.
Stuff, right? But the scenario section is one of the worst. It's really, really terrible. It's there's some scenarios that shouldn't be on there, that should never have been done. I think some of the deployment types make absolutely no sense when you roll them up, and they're very confusing the way it's worded. So if there's an area where people are getting confused, it's going to be in the scenarios.
Do you come on from your deployment zone or your DZE?
Your deployment zone edge that also includes the deployment zone edge, where I think Warlord or whoever wrote it assumed it meant this bit here. If you're using that this deployment, this bit here, but also this bit's your edge. So what about there?
Talking about even in this chat when we're talking about here objectives, we've got people in the chat. I wouldn't say confused, but kind of missing my point, because Tony Brooker just said, "But if you move up and kill the unit objective, it is yours." Yes, as long as there's not a second unit there. And even if
the unit that's there,
if there's a second unit there, doesn't matter whether that's a scoring unit or not. It's still an enemy unit nearby, so you can't claim it at the end of your activation. Even if you then kill it further on in the turn, you haven't then moved up at the end of your activation, not at the end of your turn. It's
you know what's even madder about that?
Yeah.
Go and park a Bren carrier or Hanomag on it, because now you need to use an anti-tank asset to get rid of that thing.
Well, it depends if you can pass leadership tests or not, which I famously can't, so, you know.
Yeah. You're the one-pin machine, mate. One pin and off he goes.
But, I mean, as Dan was alluding to earlier, like, although I'm still a bit mixed on V3 as an addition, I think I prefer V2, but I'm also quite biased because I played it a lot. I got quite good at it, you know. You'd kill your darlings, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But one thing,
we play these games, right? We play these games, especially competitively, to be the better player and outwit your opponent. So you come up with a strategy that is fundamentally better than your opponent's defense, and that's how you win a game. But it doesn't make you a better player than someone if you take 3 multi-launchers, snap with a company commander on the first turn, or the first dice of every turn, and just happen to roll more 6s than the opponent does that game. That doesn't make you a better player. That's just it's just forming a gun line and rolling enough 6s. It's not a thing. It's not a tactic, really.
But regardless of all that, when I was at Mincemeat and I found myself smiling beside myself, but like in spite of myself, because I'm at a tournament with all my friends. The vibe of I'm vibing the venue. All my gaming buddies are there, so you know I'm playing on cool terrain. I'm playing awesome armies. I'm away from the kids for a day. Fuck yeah! The game itself is actually kind of minor. Do you know what I mean? Compared to like the whole reason. So whilst I think the game V3's got a long way to go in terms of getting it to getting PAX to a place where we can iron out these issues and stuff. I think at least me and probably Spurlie and Pete, Dan, we'll wait to see. We're here for the ride of V3, even if it's going to be a bumpy one, I guess.
Yeah.
The multi-launcher thing is a great example because it's not a fun mechanic either way. Like if you brought 4 multi-launchers and you won every game, unless you're a real dick, if you're winning every game because you just rolled a bunch of 6s, you didn't earn that victory. To your point, you just received it. And it's the same other way. If you had that done to you, that's no fun. And it's the same thing with the British, 4 British artillery observers, and you just get pinned out, or the air observer model. But that's where every war game's got that stuff.
But that's where
a few units.
The thing is, though, is that was still a tactic in V2. That you could do that. You could have a German officer, for instance, snap 3 Howling Cows first dice of every turn. And that's fine. But the counter to that was that if you took an army that can move, you can move apart from the blast radius so that he couldn't hit more than 1 unit with every single one. And you can pick off those units nice and easy. But now with the invention of cover saves and the -1 to hit for moving, or for long range, or moving weights, whoever it is, moving, isn't it? It doesn't incentivize you to do that because the opponent he's not getting any detriment if you move into a good position. You know, it's really hard to hit an opponent if you move unless you are point blank. So there's no real reason to do any of that anymore.
There's also no reason to go down when you're point blank either. If you're in point blank and somebody goes, "Do you want to go down?" It's like, why?
Yeah, but that's fine. I like that change, that being the ignoring the point blank thing, because you are so close you can't possibly miss. But then make it so that if I move into a flanking position of an enemy, it gives me some sort of benefit, not just go, oh, well, you're 6.1 inches away, so you only hit on 5s. So your 10 rifle shots is going to hit like 3 times if you're lucky. But I've completely negated the enemy. I've completely negated the cover and all the bonuses they get. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, mate. You're still shit. And it just doesn't make any sense.
I played against the multi-launcher list with all of them stacked up, and those multi-launchers just melt under fire. I played against the multi-Katusha list, and it's fun putting a couple pins and watching them back off the board. I mean, it's been, it's just like with everything, you kind of got to figure out the new counter to what's really strong, and it's part list design, and a lot of it's maneuver, I think.
And that's true, but when someone brings 3 multi-launchers, it's usually backed up with 10-7 plus tankettes. And you think, well, I can kill the 3 multi-launchers, and you go, great, I've killed 120 points worth of stuff. Oh wait, there's still 10 tanks tank shocking my entire army off the board.
For me,
what's the point?
The elephant in the room isn't either of those units. For me, at least the biggest takeaway that I had from Mincemeat and from all my practice games is how much of a force multiplier the company commander is now, and how easy it is to put into us for 42 points. You can't afford to not take him.
Yeah, that's 4.
So I've not took him. I've not took him once.
Multi-launchers on their own. Multi-launchers on their own, sure, whatever. Shoot them, they give themselves pins, whatever. But when you take 3 or 4 multi-launchers backed up by a company commander who can snap them all off a single dice, give them all a +4 to their order checks, so even with them taking pins, they're going to go anyway. That's massive. I managed to at Mincemeat, in 2 games I managed to pin out 2 of my own Nebelwerfers from the game because they gave themselves so many pins that they capped out as NX units, and they kept firing every single turn because the company commander's like, +4, mate, have fun. That's the key bit.
It's all true. It's all true. But if you look at the highest scoring player at WoW, I think it was this young guy who was on my team, Cody. He was a father and son team playing alongside me, and he had an all-American infantry list. He had 2 American air observers. That's it, which you could have done in V2. And he was, and he just rocked game after game after game after game. And if you watched him, he was playing tactically. He was playing smart. He was maneuvering in a way that brought all those rifles to bear, in a way that I haven't gotten to this place, the headspace where you guys are, which says it's just a gun line. It's just where it's Imperial Guard, Warhammer 40k version 7. I'm not there.
Yeah.
Somebody playing tactically, somebody playing smart. We don't want those kind of peoples in our game. So if we can find out his name and we'll take his rulebook off him, we'll make sure he doesn't play again.
The issue, John, right?
Cody Swanson, he was great. He was awesome.
Yeah, the issue, John, right, is you've seen the Nebelwerfers and gone, how do I deal with those? And as mentioned, the issue we're seeing is, at least seen, is here's my Nebelwerfers and here's 10 tanks. Yeah. Deal with one, the other's going to kill you.
And when you've got your little company commander, and he's an X, you shook him in a Jeep, like, I'm a good player, you're never going to catch him. I will hide him. You can try what you want. I will hide him. And
he lives behind dense terrain. Thank you very much.
Behind dense terrain, behind tanks, But his presence will be felt because wherever I need a +4 to my order checks, he will be there. I can assure you. And at least from it rendered so much of the game meaningless. Pins, who cares about +4? I'm being outdiced. Who cares? I get a single dice and I can activate 4 more units. It's just it's very easy to access the company commander, and every time I see someone without one, I'm like, why the hell have you not got one? It's so obvious.
That list that you were just describing with loads of American infantry and 2 air observers, that's fine in V2 because the American rule made it so that you could move and shoot, and it'd be a good tactical decision to do so. But that list would not stand up against Toph's list of 3 multi-launchers and 8 7+ tanks, because he would just yeah, but you can't get damaged by just rifles, can you? So, and the one turn that the air observers come in, you rally and then tank shock it.
But it's a bit of a dick measuring contest, isn't it? You'd be like, oh, my dad will beat up your dad. Do you know what I mean? My dad will beat up yours. It's like you know. Luckily, we've got WTC in a few months where we can find out. But like,
yeah, but we that's what we've done for the last 10 years with V2. You always say that's an okay list, but it will lose to a list like this, and that list will lose to a competitive list that you see where it's got loads of tankettes, because you just can't hurt them.
I think for me, V3 at least compared to V2 is like when you're playing at like a low. I don't mean this disingenuously to like, but like, you know, like a lower level of play where you're just rocking up with your mate Dave and you turn up at the club and you just roll some dice, you're just having fun. V3 thrives there. It's absolutely brilliant. It's fine. It's quick. It's simple. Easy to learn. Snap. Stuff dies on for turn 1 or 2. It's fine. It's sorted. I think it's when you're playing at high level that things start to fall apart a bit, at least without TO sanctions and stuff, because it's so easy to go like, well, this thing's really cool, so I'm going to bring 20 of it.
Yeah. If you don't have a gentleman's agreement with your friend to say, let's play, for instance, like the WTC, the restrictions that are in place now, let's play a maximum of 2 units of any type. And everyone can, and it'll be basically like a slightly better starter game. You know, when you teach the new kid down the club and you bring one of everything to show them how they all work. Then it'll be more of a beer and pretzels game, and it'll be nice and balanced. But when you go to an event, if you've not taken 20 tankettes, then you're doing it wrong, aren't you?
So
I'm in the midst of this one right now because, you know, when it came out and I published my player pack, it was like for Warzone, it's too new. I don't know what to comp. I think it's too soon to be doing comp. I heard you guys talking about this on an episode, I think. Right? Yeah. It's too soon. Let's just let the event play out. Let's play by the rules, and then we'll kind of figure it out. And then, but I asked for I put in a rule in the pack, which is don't be a dick. If you're submitting a list that's making you giggle while you're putting it together, and you're laughing because of how spectacularly clever you are at list writing, and you send it to me, if I see 8 rocket launchers in a German list in some way, I'm going to call you and say, no, redo this. Hoping that we would see some judgment.
Personally attacked, John.
So far, that ain't working. I'm getting lists with 6 multi-launchers left and right.
Yeah.
But if I take 20 FT17s, that's me being a dick. So if I tone it down to 12, that's me being generous. So why can't I do 12?
It's the whole negotiation thing, isn't it? You start with the 20 FT17s, so then you feel reasonable when you go down to 10 FT17s.
Yeah. You say 20, John says 5.
Yeah,
you
say
go,
okay.
18.
Yeah.
John says 5.
And then I say 20 again.
John says 5.
I mean, there is someone who has submitted a 10 FT17 list for
nice. Half of them at least.
I think it's great. It's going to look good, cool on the table. It's going to be cool, and I'm that one I allowed, but
the problem is with that list now is
I said no.
That entire list can tank shock you. And it's 350 points of tank shocking.
It only moves 6 inches.
Man,
it moves 12 when it runs.
No, FT17s only run 6. They'll get there eventually.
They're never going to get there. They're getting tank shot by an FT17. It's your own fault.
The FT17 tank charge is the steamroller in Austin Powers. Yeah. It is, like, if you get tank shocked by it, you've had about a week to get out of the way. It's your own fault.
That's exactly right.
Well, but I mean,
it's
not even that though. Like, we're talking about the objective scenario. If you've got enough FT17s to park 3 FT17s on every single objective and just kind of go, guess they're mine. I mean, unless your opponent's brought like 5 pounds of Shreks or whatever, to enough AD to keep killing them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I do like around the objectives is it's the infantry to go and get them. Because, you know, it means go and get them with the infantry, but as soon as you got them, just all your vehicles on them, you win.
I think V2 benefited getting on the objective last because you could just sit there and then turn 5 go, ha mine! Whereas V3 is very much like, get on it first and then be an annoying dickhead for the rest of the game. It's like, push...
I found the value of US Rangers this edition playing a Gumby one round where winning is the thing apparently when playing a Gumby, because I got some US Rangers. I went, well, we got 5 or 6 objectives. I'm just gonna have 2, my company commanders and platoon commanders sit back here and grab the ones at my end, and I'm just gonna Ranger run to the middle ones and thank you very much. Not on the Ranger move, but on first turn.
So this all being said, let's do a mild pivot transition because we've got three major events coming up, right? In terms of different, and I think TOs. I know we started by let's not do too many going too ham-fisted with like the open packs and stuff to try and see what is available. We've done Mincemeat. It was an open pack. At least we at Mincemeat was like, that's a problem.
It kind of works, but a lot of it's players doing it.
So we've got players. Yeah, stop coming at me, bro.
No, I mean it's players balancing it because they could have just come with all the tanks.
Yeah. I know what you meant. So we've got WTC coming up. We've got Not 6 Step Back coming up, and we've got Warzone Atlanta coming up. 3 different events, all with their own different packs and their own different ways of balancing things. So did we want to go through one by one each one, and then we could be like, that's good, that's shit. What do you reckon? Where do you want to start?
Yeah.
So Dan, do you want to start with WTC then?
Start WTC.
Yeah, start with WTC because I know people have been up in arms because at first you said, here's a pack, and then you revised it. Wait a minute.
Bearing in mind,
document?
Underneath the title of said pack, where it says the WTC pack, it says in big red letters, "This is a living document and is subject to change."
Living document. Sorry, John.
Do you know what? As well, I had a massive argument with someone the other day because in the document it says. It was subject to change, especially around army books and campaign books being released, and people were.
I thought you were joking.
Oh no! And people were having a massive argument about whether I'm going to allow the new Armies of Germany book, and whether people can choose to use the Armies of Germany rules from the rule book or from the army book, and how is it all going to be balanced with that coming out? So. People just like to create shit from nothing and argue about nothing.
So what rules have you come up with then?
So we've called it the Lowlander edition because the Highlander there is only 1, so the Lowlander there is only 2. And that is it, it's the rule of 2. So you cannot have more than 2 multi-launcher shooting vehicles or units of any kind. So for instance, if you're a German, you can bring a Nebelwerfer and a Panzerwerfer, or 2 Nebelwerfers or 2 Panzerwerfers, but the maximum is 2 multi-launcher units. And then the other one is it is a maximum of 2 units of any specific variant. So for instance, a howitzer, you can take 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies if you want, but you cannot take 3 mediums. And this rule was put in place, 1, because of the multi-launcher snap shenanigans, and 2, to stop the egregious tank spams where people just take 10 T26 titty tanks and just laugh because it's basically like 700 points of unkillable shit. So you could, for instance, take 2 Stuart's Dakar tanks and then 2 Stuart Satans. And the idea is that once you've taken the 1 or 2 good tanks, your options are pretty shit after that, really. Like if you're an American player.
I was going to say, a lot of armies will have like lots of different tankettes. So you go 2 of one, 2 of another, 2 of another, 2 of another, 2 of another. So you can still kind of do it.
But who though? Because for instance, if you're the Soviets, after you've taken 2 Stuarts, the best thing then you can probably take is 2 BA-10s, and then that's kind of it then. Everything else is kind of overpriced for what it does. The same with the French. Once you've taken 2 FT-17s, maybe 2 Chars, then they're all pretty shit.
2 FT-18s. Yeah!
I mean, if you want to take a low velocity spud gun that can't move, then yeah, that's fine.
Yes, I do.
You're talking to a man that's done it before, Dan.
But the idea is that you stop the spamming of, like, if you're going to take Polish, you can take loads and loads of Lancers and then still take 10 of the autocannon tankettes that can't be seen behind cover because they're so small.
Is there any exceptions
that.
to the rule of 2? Like anything you can take more of?
Oh,
yes, there is. Infantry squads, medics, and platoon commanders, as well as transports and tows.
Yeah, any transport can be taken as many as you want. So if you want to take loads of trucks to take all your squads in, that's absolutely fine. It's just to stop the really OP stuff. Like, if you take 10 Ranger squads, no one's going to really care. But if you take 10 multi-launchers, then someone's going to give a shit.
Can I take 2 Brens for my 10-man infantry squad?
No, because in the rules, it says optional rules at the back of the rule book, page so-and-so onwards, will not be used. But then, some people can't read that bit, so they still say, can we do this? And no, you can't. So the rules for weather and mud and minefields and all that sort of shit is also not being used.
I can't use skis? That's bullshit.
No.
So the rule of 2...
So you can use skis. You can use skis, but you won't have the weather conditions to use them in.
Yeah.
So rule of 2, at least for Team England, went down quite well. We had one grumpy man who definitely isn't another version of me, who definitely wasn't planning on bringing lots of tankettes and is now salty about it. Everyone else
his entire list now.
Everyone else is totally fine. John, how did the US react to the rule of 2?
Well, people are sitting and going through the books trying to find the exploits. So is an L-33 with a double machine gun, can I take 2 of those, and an L-33 with 1 machine gun, and then an L-33 with an anti-tank rifle, and an L-33 with a flamethrower? And so they're going down trying to figure out ways they can create the tank wall without and still be in the flavor of the pack.
At least it's more. At least it's still more interesting than copy paste. Like, at least there's variety.
But it does say in the rule. It does say in the rule that is in the pack, you can take 2 of any named variant. So, for instance, when you come back to the Stuart, for instance, there is an M3A, an M3A1, an M3A3, I think, then the M3 Satan. So they're all very specific variants. So we had this question with John the other day, and it's, no, you can't take 2 Stuart M3s and then 2 Stuart M3s with Recce, because it's the same fucking unit. So you can't spam that.
And so, unfortunately, Warlord was sloppy in their army lists, and they didn't list the different variant numbers for different options sometimes, and sometimes they do. And so there are some armies that are looking at it going, well, you're limited to me. I can't do anything. And there are others going, well, I'll just take a couple of these variants and I can still get there. And I'm going to understand why you did it. And I think it's, I started out thinking for Warzone, I was going to do a 0 to 2 or 0 to 3 for exactly the same reason. Just to try to stop some of the egregious exploits that you can do when the force org charts are so freaking wide open.
Yeah.
But I would say a lot of the American players were upset because the list they had in mind, where they wanted 4 machine gun teams, or they wanted multi.
Don't lie. 4 machine gun teams. They didn't want that.
Yeah, they did.
Why?
I advised them against it, but that's what they wanted. Or they wanted bazooka teams or dog mine teams or whatever. So they're all having to go back to the drawing board, re-looking at their risk lists, but it'll be okay. They'll get over it.
Well, as we've said, like when we did the post to say the pack will be changing to this, and here is our reasoning. No one wants to fly thousands and thousands of miles and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to come and play 20 FT-17s in a mission, especially if that mission is kill points, because you aren't going to win, and no one wants to go to a game they have absolutely no chance of winning. And if I went to an event, if I went to the LVO with a fluffy bunny ranger list with 2 bazookas and a couple of mortars and everything else was rangers, I would be seriously pissed off if I went there and there were 20 FT-17s. Seriously pissed off, and I would feel like it is a massive waste of money. So I don't want that for the people coming to my event.
Isn't there the school of thought though that as it's the WTC, that there's like almost an expectation of like there's an expectation that it's a hyper competitive event, right? So it is what it is.
Yeah. And
I don't necessarily disagree with your point.
It only goes so far though, right?
Yeah.
The way that the new selectors can be abused makes so like in the old rules you could have 2 platoons of anything, or I think we allowed any number of platoons, but people capped out at 2 because that was like the sweet spot. And there is only so much you can take that is stupidly OP in 2 platoons. The most you could probably take that we didn't limit last year was maybe 6 dog mines. But the way it is this year, if I wanted to, I could absolutely take min-max rifle platoons and get 3 tank platoons in it easily. Easily get 4 tank platoons. I could easily get 3 medium howitzer batteries in it. And that's just not going to be fun for anyone, especially in a game that doesn't rely on movement.
Yeah. Well, it's because the min-max rifle, the min rifle platoon is so inexplicably cheap. Cheap. You got 2 20-point INEX units, that's 40 points, and then like a 20-point platoon commander, 60 odd points. Whereas at least the LT last edition was 50 points and made you think.
In the chat, Stuart Ainsley asked, "Does hyper competitive mean awful though?" And that in itself is the golden. But that's the golden question, right? And if you want an answer, go and listen to 6, 7, 8 years of Juggernaut Boxing podcast where we've tried to find the answer, right? And ultimately, the answer is different for every person, and it's finding that line. Because I don't disagree. I wouldn't want to play 1,000 miles to play the same stupid list every single time, which is just stupid, pointless. I win, random lottery button, because it's so easy to,
No one wanted to play the Stuart Gurkha thing. Now, like literally, when we went to the Welsh Open last time, we went for a V2 event, the Welsh National, sorry. It was all British Gurkha Stuarts, and it was the same for 4 of my games. And I don't want, and no, everyone. That's why V2 was getting so stagnant, because that's what everyone experience was. But the difference between someone doing Fluffy Bunny and competitive V2 is like a small gap. Where the difference now between Fluffy Bunny and hyper competitive V3, the gap is absolutely massive in terms of what power level an army can take.
Yeah. Is it any different though? Because I mean, like last year at WTC, someone had a 6 or 8 flamethrower list. It was crazy. I mean, I played against 25, order dice Soviet lists with dog mines and everywhere, and they just out initiative you. I mean, it's always something, right?
But that's the point of the tactics of the game. Because you need to be able to come up with plans for that, but you can't do that now.
You'd at least hope that there's the variety. Like I'm not gonna like my Polish list I took to the WCC was fucking good, very very good. And there's a lot of people who probably didn't enjoy playing against it because they, there's a bit of that deer in the headlights and it hits you like a barrel, like a freight train. Like, oh shit! But at least I was only one of 3 Polish Lancer players there. You wasn't likely to play more than one over the weekend. So at least even that, whereas Dan's point, the Gurkha Stewart list. Oh look, another Stewart. Oh look, another Stewart. At least I like variety when I'm getting reamed. Do you know what I mean? When I go to the swingers place and I leave, pack the pineapple, put my keys in the bowl. I like to shag everyone in the room once. I don't just go to Deirdre and just rail her over and over and again. Do you know what I mean? No matter how good Deirdre is.
You're making me blush.
Yeah. But that's the thing as well, is when you had those types of armies in V2, you could adapt your tactics to negate what they've brought. So if someone's brought loads of dog mines, you can adapt your tactics to try and back away from them while still sending people forward to claim objectives and stuff and kill them. But now it's just, I've brought a gun line. Oh crap! It's the dog mines are on me, or I've brought and now like, the flamethrower lists just don't work anymore because flamethrowers are worse now, and also no one wants to buy transports for them because they die instantly. So you can't bring that type of list to counter an all tank list.
So Owen asked in the chat, "Are Warlord listening to feedback? Do we know?" I'm just going to do my resting face. There we go.
Warlord are aware that V3 has not been as well received as they thought it would be. They thought this was going to be...
They thought this was going to be like 40k 5th edition, where bang, it exploded.
Bollocks, yeah.
Well, they thought this was going to be the edition where they've listened to all the feedback, made the adjustments needed, changed a couple of things that they wanted to include and implement them well, and everyone was going to be happy. But what, in essence, they've done is they've fucked everything. A lot of people are not happy with how it's been changed, and they are very, very aware that they got things wrong, especially cover. They know that they've got that wrong.
Tell you what they have done. They've guaranteed another sale out of me in 4 or 5 years' time when they release another rulebook.
Yeah.
It's that forward business planning we needed.
They are already working on V4.
They're working on V3 again. Am I in the
Get it right the second time.
Yeah.
Hey, if you've got time to do it twice,
really
you've got time to do it right.
Yeah. The rulebook came out, and it's got... You can see real intent to make a difference. And you can see where they tried to listen to a lot of things that people came up, like transports disappearing and snipers killing 3-man teams, which was silly, and a lot of stuff. So they did a lot, right? But it doesn't look like to me as the system that either they had enough competitive players who play 100 games of bolt action a year on their team, or if they did, they weren't listening to them.
They did well.
You probably wouldn't have released the scenario pack that they did, or some of the sloppy rule interpretations, or the wide open force org chart with no checks on it. If you had a bunch of competitive players on the team,
so I can actually say
multi-launchers with spotters straight out there, would you? That would have been something spotted well early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can actually say from the list of playtesters in the book, I imagine at least 2 of those weren't listened to.
Well, I know for a fact that they didn't listen to almost any feedback. They got people to play test it to make sure that the game didn't fundamentally break when you roll dice, and that there's no glaring omissions like roll to hit. Oh shit, we've not included what you actually hit on, that kind of thing. But when they had when they had the feedback to say your selectors are broken as shit, they just didn't listen to that feedback. And in Warlord's own words, they didn't have many playtesting games that got past turn 2 or 3. So they saw that as people just not caring enough. Whereas in actual fact, it's because the games were already over by turn 2 or 3, because the way that they've set up everything is absolutely broken, and they didn't feed that back properly. So they just ignored it all.
Okay. So, that's WCC. What should we talk about next? Warzone Atlantic or not?
Do Warzone.
Come on, Warzone. Come on, John. Talk to us about Warzone Atlantic. What are you? I know you've dabbled
let
a
us
little
know
bit.
that we're all. Let us know that we're all too poor to get planes to come over and play, and we're all sad.
Yeah.
I just think that's low motivation. I think you need to put forth more effort. A Kickstarter.
I just need to get rich, right?
Read the news?
Sponsor.
The UK
Corporate sponsors.
We can't even afford our plumbing. We've got shit in the streets.
Yeah.
We can't afford to get a plane ticket.
We've got a rise of homeless people because of inflation.
Yeah.
I think there's a corporate sponsor in the future. That's all I have.
We're going to be like San Francisco soon, aren't we? With everyone just living in tents along the motorways.
I would like the corporate sponsor to be Amazon. They've just got money everywhere.
Well, they've got about 4 depots within about a mile of me, so
I thought Pete was doing just a really poor dad joke then when he said like,
Come on, we're
due to inflation, there was a rise in homeless people. So I thought was go around putting helium.
He spotted it. He spotted it.
Go on, John. Sorry.
All right, so Warzone. So it's February 7th, 8th, and 9th. 7th is a 3-game, like a mini tournament, 750 points. Only rifle platoons, and so no vehicle or artillery platoons. So it's kind of like a recon event, and it's designed to let people come in and kind of get the cobwebs out. And for a lot of players that may be their first competitive game, so they'll be able to play those, and they'll have its own awards thing and go forward. No list limitations other than those 2. I've made a couple of very specific changes, and I'll talk about that in a second in terms of the scenarios, but. And then for For the Saturday, Sunday, it's a classic GT. It's multiple games both days, 1,250 points. No limits on your units other than the rule, which I said earlier, which is the don't be a dick rule. So I'm reviewing every single list, and if it looks like to me that people were trying to create a purposeful exploit, I've taken on the stupid responsibility of calling them individually and saying let's think differently. And I can tell you that I had a lot of angst over that, and I'm still not sure if I did that right, but that's the way I'm doing it for now. I did a couple other things with it. So one is I went to the old objective model where you have to have a unit on it and no one near you is the way you secure objectives, because I found that was like the number one thing people were getting confused about. And in a new version, you got so much you don't know, right? People are going to be looking up rules. It's going to slow the game down, so I went back to that. And then I said for forward deploying units, or what do they call infiltrators? For infiltrators, no more than 2 units can set up within 12 inches of the enemy's deployment zone, DZE. Prevent the Soviet scout platoon blocking off the whole table and winning the game before it started. Yeah. And then for the artillery strike that happens before our what's it called? Territory bombardment. Right.
Get rid of it.
I didn't get rid of it. I left it in. I got rid of it the last 2 years, but I put it back in because I wanted to be as true to the new system as possible. But I said you can roll no more than 2 6s. So as you're rolling your prep bombardment, if you have to 2 6s, everything else from then on is a 5, just to prevent that wonky thing happening where you roll really well and destroy someone before the game begins.
Yeah, Mr. Womble knows all about that.
Yeah, I did it to this poor young guy. I was playing him at Historicon. He had an Italian list, and he set up his vehicles on the table. And I said, "You shouldn't do that. I'm a Brit. I'm going to roll twice." But he did it anyway, and I destroyed every one of his vehicles. And the guys jumped out and they ran. It was really awful. And
we've said a lot about prep bombardment.
-3 before the game began.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about how it breaks the game, and it is absolutely shite and should have been binned. But I like the fact that they only kept it in for the story missions. But even then, it should still be binned off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I also don't have any flames. I don't have any fog of war missions.
Oh,
that's an error for me.
I think it's terrible.
Sweet, I'm taking 2 on to
gamey and silly. You end
it's
up with
the
everything
only
just coming on within 6 inches of each other, all in a silly low.
It's the only thing that stops gun lines from dominating, because you have to think, when I'm playing Fog of War, how do I adapt to that? And again, it's adding tactics into the game, because if you just bring a gunline army and you know that you're never going to be playing a mission that requires movement, or an enemy cannot possibly come behind you or on the side of you and flank you to kill you, what is the point? All you're doing is driving the armies and the story down one lane.
As a Hungarian player, I'm a full fan of Fog of War.
Yeah. Just everybody play Hungarians, Bulgarians, and Partisans. Just tell them to get in the bin.
That is literally why I took Hungarians to Mincemeat, though, because I knew the boys were going to do Fog of War, and I did not want to deal with that shit. So I was like, I'm going to play as Hungary, and then everyone else can do what the fuck they want, because I am not having that done to me.
It was funny enough. Competitive advantage for Hungary, in a way that
True.
I don't think they meant to put it on Hungary, because at the moment Hungary is just a better Germany.
Yeah, when the German army book comes out, it will be different, because then the Germany will get.
Will it though?
We'll see.
So I'll tell you, I rewrote all the missions to try to make them clearer and cleaner, and they're all the packs out there. Demolition's a stupid mission. I rewrote it, and Top Secret, and some of the others. So I tried to make them clean and straightforward. I run secondary objectives, so there's the primary. Might be kill points, and the secondary maybe be farther in the enemy's deployment zone, or kill an officer or more officers or whatever, to make it a little bit more fun. I run a tertiary mission, which is something that you do. So you get points if you launch a tank assault, or you get points if you launch an assault with your officer team or whatever, and it allows someone who's just being slaughtered still to vie for a prize on tertiary objectives, so they can just go for those, and it's a separate prize pool.
Is that in each mission, or is that rolled 4 on the day, for instance.
Each mission has the primary and secondary listed, and then you roll for the tertiary.
Okay, I like that. I like the idea that you don't know whether you'd need to kill with your officers or assault with a tank.
I like those ones where
that.
you almost get like a checklist or a bingo card of shit to do through the weekend, and you'll have all of them in a list, and as you do, they go ding.
Yeah.
I remember Welsh Nationals, where a group of us had set up what we called quarters bingo, because every mission was quarters, and the goal was to get each quarter in 5 games.
That's clever. Yeah. So you know that my event, I'll have a mix of some WTC players are coming. We should have at least a couple folks from Europe come play, including a couple of the US players, all the way down to a whole bunch of beginners. And so you're going to have a real mixed field. Nice. And I tried to make sure that the missions were written in a way that was very clear. Step 1, 2, 3, what are you supposed to do? I tried to clear up a lot of the confusing language in there, and to make it more straightforward. But I will tell you, I really don't know what's going to happen. You know, some of these lists I'm seeing coming through are not what I expected. There's some lists coming through that I look at and I scratch my head and I don't get it. But then someone else would look at it and go, oh my God. I mean, I had a list that was somebody submitted the other day. It had, I don't know, 18 light mortars. And I'm scratching my head going, I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Is that a flight from Denmark?
No. No. So the fact that the lists are coming in and they're so really varied means I don't really know what's going to happen on a lot of these tables. Last year at WTC, the winning player had 3 multi-launchers and 2 of the flamethrower Soviet armored cars, and he got best overall. And you know, I watched his games, and the multi-launchers did nothing the entire game. It was those 2 armored cars that were rolling around just hosting people.
They're psychological most of the time. They force your opponents to have to do shit they wouldn't normally want to do. But the variety's good, and I like that. You know, you look at this, what the hell are you doing? And then you play it. It's like, oh, that's what you're doing.
Exactly.
I just remember with my mincemeat list, Bo Mortensen reviewed it on his YouTube channel, and like he didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing with it. Bless him. It's just like, Toph's doing this. I'm sure he's got a plan. I don't know what it is. And I did have a plan. I shot some shit with some Nimrods. It was great.
Have you seen any lists with double Churchill yet, John? Because we've seen one.
No, but I had a list with 3 Churchills last year.
Wow.
Well, that double Churchill list we had was supposed to be a triple Churchill list, but Chris pussied out. So
you heard it here, folks. Pussied out.
Yeah, that's it.
I need to
the triple Churchill list was played by a casual player, and he did he with very little effort. He was doing really well with the list, which was, you know,
because everyone's got their freaking anti-tank. They're looking at 3 churches going, what the fuck do I do?
Exactly.
So how many?
Something I have noted.
No,
I've got space for 50.
Space for 50. How many tickets you sold so far?
Space for 50. I think we're at 34, 36.
Oh, that's good. For
That's
America
fine.
as well, because I know
for the
getting
US.
there is difficult. Yeah,
For the US, that's a really big tournament, right? I think LVO, when I went last time, was like, I don't know, 28 players or something like that. So if I get, and Americans are renowned for buying their tickets late and driving the TOs crazy, but we'll see. It's a cool event because it's like everything's included. So you go there. We feed you lunch. I have servers that come up to the table and bring you drinks the whole time. The table, no tables touch. There's no butt to butt bumping. Yeah, there's a lot of space around the tables. You know, everyone gets prizes. The people go home with a bunch of cool prizes, including a piece of World War II memorabilia and a cool template. It's a really fun event, and I get a lot of people come back year over year. I didn't know what was going to happen with V3, whether you were going to see people wait out and just kind of see what was going to, or they were going to sign up. And so far, I'm pretty encouraged.
Yeah, we were a bit like that for Mincemeat, going, oh, I wonder if we get people to appear. And then we had quite a few people appear, and we're like,
we filled the gaming store very well. We couldn't really fit many more people in, which is what you need. And Beachhead, the one they're running down at Bournemouth next month, that's sold out.
Good.
Yeah, so the one Alex and Michael are running. So like, there's clearly
did everybody who wanted a ticket get a ticket?
No, because Luke left his to the last minute, so he's going to go and play Old World instead. Which, to be fair, is not like play. That's fine. Like, that's it's not the worst thing that could have possibly.
There was but Luke, who's playing on England 3 at the WTC, wanted to use Beachhead as a practice event.
Yeah, now he's gonna have to actually get down to club.
Yeah.
But I would like to make it out to Warzone Atlantic one day, but housewife, kids. Yeah, it's we'll get there one day.
One thing I have noticed about kind of the way the edition's swinging at the moment for metas, as they call it, everybody's going for light tanks, and I've tried it, I think, twice at club where I go, here's a 9+, or here's a 10+, and suddenly people are going, oh shit, how do I kill that? And it's suddenly such a difference that it's like, hey.
That's the beauty of a meta evolving, right? Because everyone goes, right, this is the hotness, and everyone goes, well, if that's the hotness, I'm going to take this. Oh, no, that's the hotness now. Well, if that's also, I'm going to take that. And eventually, it'll iron out. But then that's also when it gets stale, right? Because obviously in V2 we'd all worked out what the hotness was and we were done. We'd reached the plateau. Whereas currently in V3 we have no idea what the plateau is, and it's going to be a long time until we get there. Currently it's spamming shit it's spamming shit and tanks, but we'll see. Yeah, I like it too. Keeps things.
I think that point in V3 is going to be when someone comes up with a defining pack that limits things.
Okay.
And I think the way you're going to do that is by taking maximum one platoon of any other type other than rifle platoons. I think that will be the defining point. If that becomes the norm, which I think it should because you don't want to play 10 tanks. That's good.
As a community, as bolt action players are very good at agreeing on things, and we're very good at all agreeing to run similar formats and packs, aren't we? Absolutely, yeah. As a community, we're all great about that. Yeah, we're not going to have 15 fucking standards in the future. It's absolutely.
At least 32 standards.
Oh no, there's 32 standards. Right, let's create another standard to make sure we're all aligned. We now have 33 standards. So get ready for whenever that comes. Saying that, as put a hand up, as Juggers with our own format are absolutely a contributor to that.
A very cool one.
I mean, people keep asking us for a new one, and I'm like, it's too soon.
And we're like, too soon. It took us a while to get the first one out. Give us chance.
Well, I actually typed up some notes as like we could potentially do this, and it immediately turned into an argument between me, Spurlie, and Pete. So we need to go in the car park and beat each other up at least for a few months further before we're
my money's on Pete. My money's on Pete.
My money's on Pete too.
Beat each other off, whichever you want.
Yeah, Pete will win that fight easily. So, not 6 steps back. We only released tickets yesterday, and we've already sold 10 of them. So. Yeah, I think that's our fastest. Obviously, we've got space for
fastest 10 we've done.
We've got space for up to 24 in the local store we're borrowing. So if you do want to come to not 6 steps back, you might want to hurry.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Don't wait like Luke did for Beachhead.
Absolutely, because there's not going to be that.
When is it?
It is the 8th of March.
Yeah.
And what is it?
It is a 1,000 point
bolt action
tournament at Seven City.
Is it 1 day, 2 day?
1 day. So
1 day.
It's not 6.
What's the limitation, Toph?
So I am TOing this one, and I've kept it quite simple because we don't normally. This would be the one where we do our own Juggernaut format. We don't have a format for V3 yet, so that's out the window. So we're doing something different this year. Try to keep it simple. We have only got a couple of limitations. The one is no more than 2 multi-launchers because it just can't be asked. There you go. Just can't be asked. That's it. And the second one is that at least 50% of your points must be spent on rifle platoons. That's it.
I like that.
That's it. So you can bring all your tanks, you can bring all your howitzers, you can bring all your artillery, but you need to have at least 500 points of stuff that can be fitted in a rifle platoon. So you can't just min-max your platoon commander and your 2 squads. You need to make it. Well, you need to spend your 500 points somewhere, right? So you could min-max it, I guess, but then you're just going to take that a million times. Now you probably want to take some
you
actual.
Can still fit. You can still fit your 10 FT-17s if you want them.
You could still, but you wouldn't have anything else because at least 500 points. Well, 10 FT-70s is 370 points straight away. So between that and your rifle platoon, you've run out of points. Pretty much, yeah. We'll see how it goes. For missions, I've reinstated the old Jugger missions, or at least I've selected. We used to have 10 in the old pack. I've brought 6 of them back. and we'll just play them instead because I don't want to fucking play ones out of the rulebook. So there is no Fog of War.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes down. But again, hopefully gun lines are somewhat limited because at least the gun line will just be, at least half of it will be rifle platoons. I'm kind of a bit nervous that it might just favour those armies that just happen to have better core infantry. Do you know, things like Soviets, Polish,
US.
Exactly. But every army tends to have some good core infantry at some point. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But I say we've already sold 10 tickets. I've not even uploaded the main pack yet because I'm still waiting for Pete's review copy.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Yeah, calling you out live on.
Oh, do it again. Go on, call me out again. Go on, I need it.
Upload it. Yeah.
Right, I'll get there.
And then, we'll see where that goes. And then, depending on how Gnostic steps back go, we'll then have to have another argument in the car park, me, Pete, and Spurlie, about what pack we'll run for Battle of Britain.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is Battle of Britain your GT style event that you run?
Yeah, that's the big one. So,
It's the one Dan
Operation
don't like.
Mince is GT as well.
I like the event. I just don't like where it's held.
yeah.
If you don't hold it at the Games Expo, I'd gladly head everything up for it, but I ain't doing shit while it's there because they're a bunch of money grabbing bastards.
It's
What,
part,
the
it's
NEC?
part of
Yeah,
the
we know.
charm. Part of the charm.
Here's the funny thing. If Dan was in their shoes, he'd be doing exactly the same thing to us that they do.
I wouldn't be charging you $1,000 for electric, mate. Inflation,
You can't.
$11.50 now.
Yeah, he charges more.
Inflation, $2,000. Come on, get
I was
quick.
going to say, do you know how they run things at LVO? Because I'm trying to think of similar, big, massive convention that happens to also have tournaments. Do they get rinsed by the arena?
Oh yeah, it's horrific. The big hotels and the convention centers, they're dominated by these labor unions, and so you say, I need that electrical cord just moved 4 inches to the right. That's $500. And you've got to wait 4 hours for the guy to come over, and if you go touch it, we're going to find you. It's horrific. Yeah. It's just horrific. Yeah.
Yeah, we resorted to just going like powerless and having laptop stuff with extended battery, and I would sit there with we're walking around my little tablet with how much time left on it. I don't know. The thing is, it's kind of the cost. Like to Dan's point, yeah, like with Battle of Britain, it is a fucking pain in the ass because you get no help from the venue and stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of, I don't know, it's the expo.
But the other problem is the first year you did it. No, but the first year you did it, everyone complained that you didn't get enough time to do the walk around the event and do the venue. So in the second year, you gave everyone loads of time so they could go around and look at the event and explore the venue, and they all complained that they had too much time.
Damn,
and it's like, well,
war gamers.
let's just do it. Let's just do it the week after at a normal place, and everyone knows exactly what they're coming for. But no.
One of the weird things about it is that we don't like. Yes, so it's at the NEC, so you've got to pay a bit more for hotels and that in the local area. But then people complain that £50 is too much for a 2-day tournament, and you go, yeah, but it's not just the tournament because we give you the time to go around the UK Games Expo. So if you're £50,
it's the same price as
it's the same price as the Warlord GT.
Yeah.
BritCon.
War gamers, man. What are you gonna do?
BritCon is free to go to, so you're paying all of your money purely for those 5 games.
I don't know.
Whereas
I think
we charge you £16 for 5 games.
I think
and it's
in this
34
day and
in the
age,
build.
£50 for a GT sounds about right.
Yeah.
Unless you're paying for a Games Workshop one, then it's like 70 or 80.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of on par with £70-ish, because unless you bring in pack up, then you're also paying for food. But that's out of our remit. We can't exactly get the venue to go and give us a load of sandwiches because that's crazy.
Yeah, because we deal with nothing. No, we don't deal with the money or anything at that one. So all we do is turn up, put our tables out, and
hope for the best.
So let me give you some numbers by comparison. So if you wanted to go to LVO, for example, you got to pay $25 just for a badge to get into the front door. And then if you want to play in the 40K Championship or the Age of Sigmar Championship, those tournaments range between $180 and $115 usually for a 3-day single day event. And the GT events can run $150 or more. And then on top of that, you're staying in a convention hotel, which are expensive. And then you go out and to get a sandwich and a Coke, and that could be $30 right there, US, for something really, really awful. So if your guys are, $50 for a GT is a great price.
It's a good job you're rich, John, because you go to so many of these events, you'd be bankrupt.
So what I'm getting here, right, is it's roughly $230 to $250 all in on the on something like the LVO. To put that in perspective, any kind of British listeners and listeners that are in Great Britain, that's £190. Which kind of gives you a little bit of perspective about what. Yeah,
but nobody goes to the LVO. It's you see the pictures, and it's always just empty halls with rows and rows of tables, no people, isn't it?
Loads of 40K players.
Will have 300 or 400 players, and some of the system. It's in multiple hotels now, and the same thing with Adepticon. I mean, there are big events on the sci-fi and the fantasy side. Okay, so how about this one? So in the US, GW is running their GW narrative event, and it's a 2-day event where you go and you play good guys versus bad, and have people dressed up in Space Marine costumes and stuff, right? $400 with no lunch or nothing.
Fucking Christ.
Oh, is that the ones where they're all dressed up and they're properly they properly do the role play and things like that?
I mean, there's 3 or 4 guys dressed up, yes.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 that are like the leaders of the factions doing the role play, and I'm like, that is brilliant. That looks great fun.
So what you're saying is if we put on like World War II uniforms, we could charge an extra £300 for our event.
Yeah, Dan, what you need, mate, is a wig.
Depending on the uniform.
Dan, what you need, mate, is a wig and a moustache. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Dan just borrowed one from Prince Harry.
I'll just turn up in my finest Hugo Boss.
What are you talking about? Prince Harry borrowed it from me.
Yeah, we'll drive our Porsches. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Any closing thoughts on V3 tournaments, future directions?
I'm just gonna put up, mate, as a TO at the moment. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
as a TO,
he's bit bag gone.
As a TO at the moment, it's hard work because we're new edition. We're reading up things. We're all over things, but also it's a pain in the butt when it's just like, there's the gotcha. Nobody knows about it. Great, thanks. Oh no, I mean, suddenly going, what's going on here?
The worst thing is that at the minute as a TO, you could draw your line in the sand anywhere. You could have it completely open and say, bring whatever the fuck you want. I literally don't care what army list you bring. Or you could have a few comp rules here and there, a few limitations, or you could go completely whole hog and say, this is exactly the selector that you can use and the exact units you can use. No matter what you do, people are going to be fucking pissed off with you. So as like for the WTC, I know that I've made these changes for the good of the event to have these limitations, and it will please some people that those limits are put in, and it will piss others off. But as a TO, you have to draw your line in the sand and say, this is the kind of event I want. I'm going to run it as is, and if people don't like it or they don't turn up, then that's on them. And at least you've done something that you wanted to do. And we're going to be in a state of flux for about a year to say what is good comp, what is bad comp, what is going to be allowed at certain events, how the meta develops, what kind of army lists are winning all the events anyway. So you just kind of have to stick your neck out there for the first year, see what happens, and then if it's good, it will catch on, and eventually it will become the norm. So
yeah. One thing actually about the LVO, apparently they are hosting the first bolt action V3 GT in the world ever.
Oh wow!
Oh,
wrong.
Yeah,
that's
wrong.
I mean, apart from ours that we held at the end of November,
and the one they had at Reading, and I guess World Open War is technically a GT.
World Open War.
I mean, it's a weekend tournament with lots of players, isn't it? It's a GT.
Listen, until the Americans do it, it's not real. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. Until the Americans do it. Does that mean the war wasn't actually real until 1942? Is that right?
You have to remember when someone says "save the world," it's a picture of North America, and that's it. Nothing else outside of those lands exists.
That's why it's Team America World Police.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
And the World Series for your baseball.
Look, Trump's going to come buy the UK in a few months anyway. We'll be the 52nd state after Canada.
It's not Trump buying it. It'll be Musk, mate.
Whatever. President Musk, President Trump, whatever. Our Lord and Saviours, whatever. Right, let's go.
Right, let's do sponsors for Mincemeat before we forget.
Go on.
Because,
go on.
Here we go. Sit down, boys. Get a drink. This is a long list. So,
here we go.
We had 7th City, our hosts and benefactors, we'll call them. Any scale models, Ascari miniatures that was sent over from the US. Then I think there was 2 or 3 people who were really interested in seeing what we'd got from them, because they want to order, but they'd never seen the models up close. So now, that's good. Battle Foam, they absolutely, provided along with what 7th City did with us. Blitzkrieg miniatures. We had Game Mat EU, Gamer Grass, Coed Dice Bags, Mardav miniatures, Microwatt Studios, Offensive Minis, Playmats EU. Then there's Shadow's Edge, the Colour Forge, Valkyrie RPG, War Games Illustrated, and finally Warlord Games. So
big list there.
How many is that? Yeah, 17 sponsors.
Special shout out for one I got, Dark Star. Whoop. These paints,
so they're
amazing.
They're from Valkyrie RPG.
I've never heard of them. And then this, what is this? Dark Star Molten Metal Braid Gold. It's dog's bollocks, mate. Dog's bollocks.
What have you used that on? Have you used that on your spiders?
I used it on my spiders, yeah. Anyway, that's a good segue to the Hobby Lobby. So,
but it's not though. It's not, because I need to point out that Battle Foam weren't just good; they were bloody great. Well,
it's what so Battle Foam and 7th City kind of work together, and so the Battle Foam stuff was just.
Wasn't it the top three? The top 3 each got a £50 Battle Foam case.
I think they were more than 50.
More than that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 50. It was 50 just for the case, I think, plus your foam inserts.
Not even the foam.
I think they're like 70-80 pound cases. Yeah.
That'll pay for your trip to LVO. There you go.
And,
chuck it on eBay.
If you're listening or viewing, thinking, "Hang on, that doesn't sound like a jug away of doing prizes," we balanced out the prizes for everybody else. First, second, third got those great ones, but they got bugger all of anything else.
Yeah. Everybody walked away with, so it was a £40 ticket, and I think everybody walked away with at least 50 quid, like RRP of prizes.
That's great.
That was Spurlie doing it.
Yeah, that was, if you didn't go, you were worse off than if you did go.
There we go.
Yeah. Dan's sorting out the next one, so if you're disappointed, blame him. Yeah, well, I've got other events that I need to start blagging.
Save the network for.
Yeah, I can't blag everything for everyone because people will start saying no.
So we're about to go into Hobby Lobby then. John, you're free to join us if you want to talk Hobby Lobby, or you're free to jump off if you're like. Actually, I'm sick of you fucking British fucks.
If you've got to get down to the beach, you might want to catch the tide. Surf a few waves.
I'm going to drop off, but thank you guys for letting me come on and talk about my event, and we'd love to see more Europeans come. And I'll, if you want, I'll send you some of the results after the event's over and let you do a comparison of what lists won and all that.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
And I will see you in the bar at the WTC in just a few months' time.
Yes, we will.
First drink on me.
And we've got it. It's
you
on
just became
video.
his friend there, look.
It's on video. We've got eight. We've got eight.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Brilliant.
That's all you need.
Thank you, John.
All right. See you guys.
See you later.
Cheers, John.
Right, let's do a transition. Yeah, can anyone, because we've just had Hank Green on, can anyone do a Hank Green impression?
No.
Who the fuck is Hank Green?
Who's Hank Green?
So, like, if you, him and John Green do a YouTube thing. They're like really famous. Oh,
John Green.
Well, John Green's brother is Hank Green.
Who are John and Hank Green?
Oh, they're just famous internet people. They do YouTube and stuff.
Science communicator, novelist, stand-up comedian, and entrepreneur, hosting the educational YouTube channels Crash Course and SciShow.
Do you know what they look like? They look like if you got Stephen Merchant, and split him into two people.
Look, people in the chat, people in the comments, just please confirm to me that you're aware of who Hank and John Green are, and it's not just me making shit up. I promise you they're really famous people.
Or it's a combination of Stephen Merchant and Marcus Brigstock. You know, if you did the whole what would their kids look like, these two.
Okay. Okay. Can we hobby
Got
lobby
no
now?
idea who they are.
I'm sitting here with my soundboard, ready to go, with my hobby lobby. This is our first episode since fucking October.
For some reason, wouldn't you?
Oh, Toph, we've got a comment saying it's just you making stuff up.
Pete, that's you twat. Yeah. Fucking knobhead.
You know what I will say, though, is John's left the podcast and it's immediately turned Tim Parr.
Yeah.
I think we did really well at mildly holding it together.
Yeah.
Mildly.
Right.
I mean, Owen said that never heard of him, but Owen's a million years old. And he's too busy.
So he should have heard of
He's too
them.
busy shagging 70-years-olds at Zumba to go on YouTube and
Owen,
see who's 70
Owen's
so like
Methuselah. That's how old Owen is.
Look, fucking Pete, get the fucking
One day you'll be that old. Okay.
I'll be dead.
We're going to start, just because it's funny enough, with Dan. Because you've got on here, set up 3D printer, paint rose paint peasants.
Oh, yeah. I set up my 3D printer.
Nice.
Who's next?
Paint any peasants? No?
Oh, no. I've not picked up a paintbrush in months.
There you got
presents.
I'm sure it was presents, wasn't it? And we've just had Christmas, so I bet you've had loads of presents.
Oh, yeah. I'll wrap my presents. That's fine. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I've not touched a paintbrush in ages.
Do we give him a wow? I mean, yeah, it's a sad one. He gets the sad one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he gets the sad one, mainly because he can't see.
That's true.
Then Spurlie's got We Print Miniatures Call to Duty.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
Yeah, boys. That is
I've still got
done.
to do that.
Let's have a look. They're not finished though, are they?
Yes, they are.
Is it finished?
Based. Yeah.
Why is the rim white?
Because that's what colour I wanted it.
No, it isn't. You've just not done it yet.
How dare you?
You have
tell
never
me that my finished models aren't finished.
You have never painted the rim of a base white in your entire fucking life, Spurlie.
I've never painted these models before in my entire life.
You're so full of shit.
I've never painted the US Army before, so what am I going to do? Paint them in grey because that's what I did by Germans.
You know what? I know the sort of gentleman you are now. Leave that rim white because you're proving a point now. Go ahead and do that. Because you know inside that was going to be painted black or brown, and now you're not going to do it out of spite.
No, it's not. Because
but he also knows that doing it out of spite will get to your head.
Yeah, it's staying white because the base is going to be a dark. Well, it's not going to be. It is. Yeah, a dark grey rubble.
I think that was
if I painted it black,
it was going to be because you've not finished it yet.
No. Oh, the Hobby Lobby police are here, and he's got no hair now.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about stuff that's finished, I had down attend the Old World tournament, did that. And finish Flesh Hounds.
Fucking hell, that Old World tournament, that was how long ago our last episode was?
Yeah, I can't remember what we're going to be after. Like, that's the last one I wrote down.
I remember that one because I was in Budapest the week beforehand, landed at about 4 o'clock on the Friday, went home, had the shit shower shave, got back in the car, drove down to Gloucester, immediately collapsed on Grimes' bed. Well, not on his bed. Didn't have time.
No, it was on his bed. Come on.
Yeah, he went and slept in the spare room because I was busy sleeping in his bed. Got up at stupid in the morning, drove to fucking Factorum in the middle of ours nowhere. I was fucking shattered, mate. I was like rolling dice. I was like, but
Owen makes a good point.
Oh,
you know, white rims are only second to the beauty of clear acrylic bases.
Really? Are you going to pretend that you love clear bases now? Because is that the level that you will go to avoid being wrong? Because that's once you cross that line, Spurlie, you can't uncross it.
Oh, I can.
Ignoring Spurlie's line, there's
painted
all of the flesh hounds I own, plus the 2 separate carrots.
The fucking carrot, like cardboard box full of flesh hounds. Pete,
It's a shoebox full of flesh
when
hounds,
are you going to paint a bloodthirster?
They are next on the list.
Thank you.
Because we have Scarbrand, we have Bloodthirster,
Ladies and gentlemen,
then we have the problem. Hang on, you can point that out in a second.
Okay.
Then we have the problem. Now he's only a problem because he's a little tall, and storage is becoming a problem. This man is like 10 and a half, 11 inches tall. It's nuts. How the hell do you store that?
So for the podcasters who can't see the stream, Pete is holding up the Bloodthirster that I 3D printed for him. That's maybe about 10 inches tall, would you say?
I can find out.
Yeah,
it's certainly a big boy.
It's a big boy. It is a big boy.
And he's got 2 of them.
And I would like
3 of them.
He's got 3 of them. I'd like Pete to tell
about
the
10
audience
acorns tall, isn't it, Toph?
which Secret Santa I got them for him.
The Secret Santa where Toph got me.
2 years ago.
Was it 3 years ago?
Let's just. I'm just going to point it out that since I got L Bloodthirsters, right, I've had a Secret Santa with a lovely dice bag, and I've had Secret Santa with some blood brushes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. You still not finished mine from like 3 fucking years ago.
I've not painted my Blood Bowl team from the last time I did Secret Santa either. So.
Didn't Pete bring them to?
He's 11 inches tall.
11.
Secret Santa 2023 when we had the massive 40k game.
He brought those to the one-page rules tournament we had last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Hey, he's
admittedly
working his way through it.
The flesh hounds are done.
Yeah. He's worked on all the shit first to then.
I've done all the boring bits first to do the fun bits after.
It makes sense. It makes sense. What was on my list, Pete, for pledgeage?
Now this is almost a technicality I can get you on. Ready? Ball Boys, Budapest.
I did Budapest. I completed the city of Budapest.
No. This is Ball Boys in Budapest.
Look, my Ball Boys are finished. Look.
Yeah, did you finish them in Budapest?
No, I was
Did you finish them in Budapest?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Smashed.
Technicalities. No, they look good though, to be honest.
Thank you. The only problem is I've got 7, which is a really weird number, and they're sold in packs of 10, and I don't want 17 of them either.
How did you get 7 when they're sold in 10s?
I will give you one name of a gentleman that begins with an S and ends in a Y.
Oh, Sally!
Sheffy. Basically, since I came out of my Orc and Goblins, Sheffy's like, "Oh, I've got some spares. Let me give them to you." So he's like, "Here's 7 more boys." God knows where the other 2 are. So I've just got weird sized units now. And don't get me wrong, I love Sheffy.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything.
What's that?
Toph math.
You're 7, out of 10, but you're missing.
Sold in packs of 10.
Whatever. 3, whatever. And the thing is, and it continues because I've been looking for a Grimgor, not Grimgor Iron, the one on the pig, the Gorbad Iron Claw. You can't get them for love or money because Games Workshop have not done a made to order in a while, and so they're going for like 180, 190 pounds on eBay. And I was moaning to Sheffy about it. He's like, I think I've got one, or at least I've got like 3/5 of one. I don't have like his right arm or his boar's head, but I've got one. It's like,
why are you missing a boar's head and a right arm?
How would you lose just an arm?
The same way he lost a full Dark Elf team that was sat on a shelf.
Same way he lost his fucking.
Oh yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
No, yeah, what I would do if I were you, Toph, would be buy a pack of 10, use enough of them to get to an even number, and any spares are suddenly useful characters.
Yeah, we'll see. If
you buy 10, use 6, and then you've got 7 spare. Yeah, doing Toph maths.
But if Toph's passed his pledge, even though he didn't do his Ball Boys in Budapest like he pledged, then I personally believe that my white rims are 100% acceptable.
Spurlie, you can suck my dick.
As they were done on purpose.
That's fucking stupid.
He will, you know.
That's got nothing to do with the pledge. He just wants it.
I want the romance. You know what I mean?
Don't forget to look him in the eye, or else it means nothing.
Hey, you've not had a blowjob until you've had a Hungarian blowjob, my friend. It's a whole next level.
Is that what you buy the opponents at
You
mincemeat for?
You dip the balls in the goulash afterwards. It's wicked.
Oh.
Greg put, didn't Sheffy lose Mr. Blobby back in the day as well? Yes, he did.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Hey, there's also that Blood Bowl team that he still never found.
Yeah, I just said that, the Dark Elf one.
Oh yeah,
How do you
the Dark
lose
Elf one,
an entire Blood Bowl team?
It was just on his shelf in his office, and then it just went.
He's just whatever.
I reckon. No, I won't say that. Actually, we'll save that one for off air.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dangle the enticing bit of information for the.
He's the carrot.
Just there's the carrot. Yeah, fuck him with the carrot. I also painted some spider goblins as well this month. I'm pretty proud of. Go and have a look on our Discord for them.
Oh mate, they look awesome.
They're pretty cool. Yeah. Fucking again. These ones came in packs of 10. I have 8. So 2 went missing, but this is Ian's fault, not Sheffy's fault for the donation. What is it with Juggers losing just random numbers of models from units? I don't get it.
It's because they're using them for characters.
Probably.
Yeah, Ian's probably got those 2 spiders as some kind of Blood Bowl or Underworld.
This is the thing.
Or something else
I've got the 2 extra spiders. I don't have the goblins to go on them.
Just paint the spiders up and put them in the middle of the unit. It's almost like a unit filler, Toph. Come on, what are you doing? What is this? Old World comes out and you forget what unit fillers are. Pathetic.
That's a good point. Actually, I hadn't thought of doing that because I'm a fucking idiot.
And here I am, with a bloody herdstone to use as a unit filler. I can never have any
unit filler. That's cheating.
Army to field it.
All right. Okay. What's our pledges? Oh wait a minute. I don't care. I decided that I did do my pledge. So there we go. Because even though I didn't do Budapest, I completed my Budapest. There we go.
In which case, I did mine. Yeah.
Yeah, but we know you're lying.
No.
There we go. Cool. Right. What we're pledging for next month?
Yeah, Dan. What are you pledging? Go on.
I will paint some riders to go on. Oh, what did I pledge 2 months ago? Was it riders? Was it horses?
It was
2 months ago.
Or not last.
Spearman peasants.
What was the one after that?
Peasants. Bretonian knights.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to paint the riders to go on those horses.
So you didn't finish the knights?
No, I didn't say I was doing the knights, though. I said I was doing the horses.
You're as bad as me.
So he's that's basically going like me saying, I'm going to paint my boar boys this month, and then not doing them the next month saying, I'm going to paint half of my boar boys. It's just getting smaller as well. If we keep going in a year's time, he's like, I'm going to paint 1 shield off 1 model.
Look, I can't. I'm throwing stones in glass houses here, let's be honest.
I'm just throwing my weight around, which is quite substantial.
Toffington?
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Toffing.
I am going to paint.
See, I'm just going to put it forward. Had you waited for like 1 day for the Spider Riders, you could have put the Spider Riders there and then done them tomorrow. That's true.
No, I've got shit I need to paint for Beachhead. So it'll be that stuff, and it will be painted because otherwise I'll have an illegal army. So I need to 3D print and then subsequently paint 3 Vickers tanks. I've also got some kangaroos I need to paint. I've also got some infantry. I've got some pretty shit I need to paint.
An army. You've got an army to paint, yeah?
It's not a full army. It's like
most of an army.
Yeah. It's a selection of vehicles and infantry. There we go.
An army. It's an army. You're starting the year by painting an army.
Right, I swear to God, in
off.
Next episode you give me shit because it's not a full army I painted. I swear to God, I'm going to come around your house and fucking burn it to the ground. So don't you fucking entrap me, mate.
Yeah, I think he's worked us out there, Pete.
I see your game.
He saw that one coming, didn't he?
Spurlie, not only did he see it coming, he's seen right through the plan as well.
Yeah, sometimes Toph isn't stupid.
Maybe
sometimes.
this whole podcast is a front.
Yeah.
And maybe.
Yeah, no, it's a front for not paying graphic artists, isn't it?
To be fair, if this is acting, you're doing a fucking good job, mate.
Oh.
This is we all joke about my Toph maths until they get fucking done for like money laundering or something. Do you know what I mean? I've been like top secret finance guru for years. No, because I'd actually go to war. I'd actually be able to afford to go to Warzone Atlantic then. So
that would require
you out for embezzlement, didn't there? So
that would require you not believing 7 + 2 was 10.
Or did I?
7 + 2 could equal 10. He could just be using his own form of mathematics, you know. We could actually be like a beautiful mind situation where Toph is actually like the smartest man alive.
My freeze
none of us can comprehend his level of
actually
like,
identify as 2s, and I feel it really offensive that you won't respond appropriately.
Well,
you've actually got that going there. I think Dan's close to giving you a point for that one.
I like that one. Yeah.
I feel like there you go.
I'll be painting this big bastard and building some blood crushes.
Pete's gonna finally paint a blood first. I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be slap chopped.
He's gonna have nothing else to do down in Froome for 2 months, isn't he? So.
Well, yeah, all right.
Spurlie's going to rims and bases.
I am going to build a ogre scrap launcher thing.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. You've already started building this.
Actually.
Okay, I'm going to finish building.
Actually, you can't build an ogre scrap launcher because that's a Noblar scrap launcher because the ogre has the cannon. So do you even fucking fantasy, my friend?
No, mate, not a chance.
You know what you
need, it's called the old world now. Do you even old world, my friend?
Do you want me to
magnets? You need magnets.
Do you want me to rebase your ogres for you? Come on. Let me do it. Come on.
Not yet, anyway.
You can rebase those 2 models that are white, though.
I'm going to break into Spurlie's house while he's sleeping at night and rim his models for him.
Spurlie, what you could do is also not put any Tuffs on him. Toph will just lose his mind.
Oh, yeah. No, so I'm going to finish building it and hopefully work out how to magnetize it.
Okay.
And I will paint 20 US winter infantry. There. That'll actually be like a chunk of work done for you.
Okay.
20 US winter infantry, yeah?
Yeah. And look, just to prove they've not been started, look, none of them are painted. They are all just undercoated.
Like your bases. The base is already done, though.
That's the beauty of doing winter, isn't it? You just leave it white.
Yeah.
Oh.
So any more for any more?
Go on, Dan. Oh, he's done his. Yeah. Oh no, you did.
He's done his. I did Dan first.
Half nights, yeah.
Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah.
There
he
we
did
go.
His peasants on.
In which case, I'm
on
going to get my soundboard ready so that Dan can lead us out on a joke. As is tradition.
What are we getting cancelled for this time?
Oh yeah. So, I was at a swingers party, fully masked up, and I snuck up behind this old lady and I started fucking her. Looked up and realised, I looked at the guy and I could recognise his tattoo, and I thought, Dad, how could you be here cheating on Mum? And he said, I'm not.
Oh, that's grim. Right.
Get that, everybody.
Welcome to the Juggernaut. Goodbye from the Juggernaut Incest Podcast.
Yeah.
There's been a murder.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.